Now joining us on World Water Day is David Winder. He is CEO of WaterAid America, an organization dedicated to improving access to safe water, hygiene and sanitation in the world's poorest community. Mr. Winder, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Linord.
Well, it is obvious that water, hygiene and sanitation is a critical issue in the world. It is hard to believe, though, that up until today, there are still many communities who don't have access to something as simple as clean water.
Yes, it's a shocking failure of governments that they haven't invested more in water, sanitation and hygiene education in developing countries. As you know, there are 800 million people still don't have access to clean water. 2.5 billion people don't have access to sanitation. As a result, 4,000 children every day die of diarrheal disease, which is perfectly preventable.
Mm-hmm. And obviously your organization is working to help alleviate these issues in the developing world. Tell us about that, especially what you're doing in Southern Africa.
Yes, we have been in existence for 30 years now, and our goal is to bring safe water, sanitation and hygiene to poor communities. Mm-hmm. We work in 16 African countries, in West, Eastern and Southern Africa, and we work with local partners, with local NGOs, to bring safe water and hygiene to poor communities. We train communities and local government in the planning and management of water and sanitation systems, and then we also advocate with other NGOs with national governments and donor governments to invest more in water, sanitation and hygiene globally.
But it seems like when we look at the issue of access to clean water, it is really one of the main causes is really poverty.
Yes.
So how do you address that? Do you address poverty and then access to clean water and sanitation? What do you do?
Well, we consider that investment in water and sanitation has impact on other aspects of poverty. That if you invest in these services, you can impact on education. The reason why children drop out of school is often because there's no water, sanitation, hygiene at school. The reason behind one of the major causes of malnutrition is the lack of safe water and hygiene. The lack of safe water has a terrible impact on people who are suffering from HIV/AIDS because it reduces their immune system.
Mm-hmm. Now, in the issue with sanitation, sometimes it boils down to behavior. You know, sometimes yes, people have to change their behavior. How do we address that?
Well, this requires skilled help by NGOs and other organizations that can help educate people to become aware of the link between open defecation and disease. As you say, some people often don't realize that connection, and so the need for behavior change and for support for communities community leaders to lead this process.
Now, in terms of solution, where do we start? What are the different steps?
Well, I think it's critical to work on both water, sanitation and hygiene education simultaneously. So we obviously have to identify for each community a clean, pure source of water, how to ensure that water remains clean and pure, and we have to ensure that 100% of people in the communities adopt sanitation practices, that they abandon open defecation. And unless you work on all three levels, we're going to continue to have disease in the communities.
Now, the issue this year, at least the theme, is looking at urbanization, the challenges in urban areas. And a lot of time when we talk about lack of access to safe, clean water, we think a lot about rural areas, but yes, you do work in urban areas as well.
Oh yes, we work in urban areas increasingly. As you said earlier, there's increasingly rapid urbanization in Africa, and people often end up in peri-urban settlements, in slums that have no access to water and sanitation. So this poses special problems because of the dense population. It poses serious problems in terms of how do you dispose of human waste. And so there we're working with others to develop new solutions, including community toilets, community washing areas, special small groups of small teams of entrepreneurs who can collect human waste and dispose of it safely.
Okay. Well, that's all the time we have for today, Mr. Winder. Thank you so much for joining us.
Linord, it's a pleasure meeting you.
Wonderful.
You. Thank you very much.
And that was David Winder, CEO of WaterAid. Back to you.